Maddie and Steve, they set the stage. From classic bouts to the modern age. Every slam, every story, every legacy comes alive with wrestling pedigree. So tune on in, the spotlight's bright. The ring is ready on this podcast night. It's wrestling pedigree.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, I just saw him head bobbing throughout the intro. Welcome, welcome everybody to a brand new episode of the Wrestling Pedigree podcast. I'm your co-host Matty, and with me, I'm having someone with me that is not leaving Wrestling Pedigree for the Vikings. Steve Atkins, how are you, sir?
Oh, Matty, I'd like to say it's been a week, but really, it's been about an hour.
Exactly. We just filmed our bonus episode, which will be available listing tomorrow. However, someone among us has had a very nice vacay.
I have, except I've dealt with an asshole of a dog.
Exactly, but there's no need to talk about Ian. All right. So, because apparently you can't go as fat as Will. That was a nod to that TikTok he's done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are a wrestling podcast, so let's talk about wrestling. And this is our last WrestleMania episode of the month. And we're going to cover a pay-per-view that is controversial now because of shit that's happened. And people don't want to talk about the main event, but we are going to talk about the main event. So we are going to talk about WrestleMania 20. Steve, what first things first, when people say WrestleMania 20, what stands in your head? What comes into your head? What first memory?
I mean, obviously, the first thing that comes to mind when anybody mentions WrestleMania 20 is Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero celebrating with their newly won titles at the very end of the show.
Yes. With the confetti coming down and everything like that. Do you know that is the most edited spot in what was the WWE network?
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I googled that shit, and apparently it's the most edited from all that from Benoit winning the title. Yeah, that is the most edited. March 14th, 2004. The earliest WrestleMania pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are end of March and going into April. This one we just recently had was just a week ago, and it was 18th of April. I love the run hour on this. 5 hours. Doesn't it feel weird now to see a 5-hour wrestling show for WWE?
I was going to say no, it doesn't feel weird because we get at least a 5 hour every time AEW has a pay-per-view.
Nah, that's 7.
Yeah,
I know that because I'm going to AEW win, and I know that's going to be more than 7 fucking hours. 20,000 people at the New York Madison Square Garden. Do you remember what the handle was? The subtitle of it?
I don't.
It was where it all begins. ...
Again. Yeah.
Here's some quick facts about this because I think you're going to enjoy what you might not know this, you may do. Jeff Hardy was discussed to be returning to this pay-per-view.
I didn't know that.
So if you were the booker and you had Jeff Hardy and you wanted him to debut in this match, where would you put him?
I probably would have put him in that abysmal tag team match along with Matt. Maybe they could have brought that above 1.5 stars.
Which one was that? 'Cause there was 2 tag team fatal 4-ways.
The one where RVD and Booker T retain the titles.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. Would you replace Gade and Jim Rat then?
I would have replaced probably La Resistance.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. I mean, they got heat anyway, so that was bad.
Yeah.
This was Randy Orton and Batista's WrestleMania debuts. This is something. Flair and Angle were hurt coming into this WrestleMania.
As was Edge.
Which
is why Edge wasn't on the card.
Yeah, but he was out, and then when they did the draft, he returned and spared the shit out of Eric Bischoff.
Yep.
And then he became a heel straight after that.
Yep. But at this point, he was out with an ankle injury.
Yeah. I think he did that with. Well, I'm trying to think. Was with Americans? What's that dude that you thought he was Hulk Hogan?
Mr.
America, yeah.
Yeah.
This. I found this out, and I thought of you straight away. Randy Savage lobbied for a return match with Hulk Hogan for this pay-per-view. during around this time when 2003, when his rap album "Be a Man" was out, he pitched for him and Hogan at WrestleMania 20.
Oh, good God!
Can you imagine that happening now?
That doesn't work for me, brother.
I mean, he left it like the year before because you were there when he revealed.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't come back until he was in the Hall of Fame the following year in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of I wouldn't mind seeing it. I think it would have been probably better than the freaking Cruiserweight Open, but
yeah.
There was also talks of Bret Hart returning, and it was pitched at one time Kurt Angle versus Bret at WrestleMania 20. You being a Bret Hart fan.
Oh.
You being a Bret fan.
I would have been sitting there in like complete ecstasy.
Oh, even what was it, 2004? So it would have been 4 years since he was at Wrestle.
Yeah.
Do you still think you would have gone even with the stroke around this time?
Stroke, yeah.
Do you still think you would have out wrestle and put on a great show?
I think he would have put on a good show, but it wouldn't have been a Bret show.
Yes, yeah. But I think he would have helped Kurt though. I think he would have Kurt do this, and make Kurt look like $1 million even more.
Yep.
The pay-per-view generated $2.4 million in ticket sales, and it was one of the most successful WrestleManias for them at that time. However, it's underrated because everything that happened in the main event. Yes. So we're gonna go through it, and I do believe Mr. Fancy Birkin might have some up his sleeve if he thinks, nah, that don't work for me, brother. Which you love to do, especially on MWL. All right.
Now, I will be honest with all of you. I did not get the chance to sit down and actually rebook this show. So everything that I'm doing is coming right off the top of my head.
You're like an indie booker then, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into this. It kicked off. Do you remember the opening promo of it?
I don't.
I could be wrong, but I think it's when Vince is walking and Shane is there with his son, and they're like 3 generations, and then it just promos into every match. I could be wrong, but I think it was that. And I thought that was a nice touch. The first match, his first WrestleMania debut, John Cena versus the Big Show, who was the US champion at the time. Big Show put his title on the line. I liked this match. I thought it was a really good kickoff match.
I thought it was a pretty horrible match.
Ooh.
And I mean, Uncle Dave Meltzer agreed with me. He gave it 1.25 stars.
I liked the match. I thought it was what you would have seen in 2004 anyway.
Yeah, but I'm a wrestling purist, plain and simple. I like the chemistry that Cena and Big Show had with each other. However, I don't think that this match delivered, and it certainly didn't deliver as a WrestleMania match.
Is it because also I know you love your technical wrestling, but was it because it's just two powerhouses? One was really green, the other one was out of shape a little bit. Is that the way?
I think that had a lot to do with it, especially with Big Show being out of shape at that point.
Yeah. The John Cena finish was very heelish. But he got the win. I mean, to see him lift up a 500 plus guys for a FU at the time, was still amazing sight to see, surely.
Oh yeah, I mean, I get why they did the match. They had to get that title off of Big Show and onto Cena. Start sending Cena right through the atmosphere.
Absolutely. And do you remember the Cena US title belt?
Oh yeah, I remember that spinner.
I prefer that one to the WWE one.
Yeah, same.
The WWE one looks still to me reminds me of the album cover he had.
Yeah.
This is the match where we were talking about before we signed on. RVD and Booker T were. It's hard to explain this match. RVD and Booker T versus Dudley Boys, Cade and Mark Jimrak. I always think he's the guy that got kicked out of Evolution before it was Evolution. Versus La Resistance. This was Cade and Rene Dupree were the first 80s year wrestlers. So they were born in the 80s and they were the first ones in WrestleMania to wrestle in it.
Wow.
Don't that make me and you feel fucking old?
Yeah. It sure does.
Obviously, RVD and Booker T won, and they're the world tag team champions. What was your take on this match? Because I know you had some plans for that one.
All right. So I will start by saying this was another really, really bad WrestleMania match.
Shit the bed.
It totally shit the bed. La Resistance, they were still so fucking green at this point. There was no reason to have them in there when they're this green. I mean, it's fucking WrestleMania, where you want to put on your best shows. You want to have your best guys in there. And you put in a La Resistance. Come on. Vince, you know better than that.
Was it because of the heat that they put the La Resistance in?
It probably was. But, they were still so green. You don't want to have green guys in on your biggest show of the year.
Yeah, I agree. Anyone on that tag team that you would swap La Resistance? Is there anyone on that tag team? For me, I would just put Spike Dudley with someone else and then fucking put them in.
Well, let's see. Since we are doing, or I am doing a little bit of fantasy booking.
Because if anyone watched The Beautiful Mind before and you see all the numbers and all the equations going through his head, this is what Steve's actually doing right now. You just see wrestlers' minds go.
You know what? I would have taken the Basham brothers out of the WWE Tag Team 4-Way put them in the World Tag Team Championship 4-way,
Yeah.
I think it would have worked out a lot better.
Oh, that's great. You just transfer them, just like do a trade, and that's it.
Nope, I'm just straight out taking La Resistance out. That they are off the card.
All right, I'll give you that one. I will give you that one. Yeah, it wasn't the best match. What was the star rating on that one?
Meltzer gave it 1.5.
I thought it was fun. I mean, RVD 5-star frog splash picture when he got some air in one of those moves and he just landed. I think it was on the Dudleys. It was just brilliant.
And here's a little bit of trivia. RVD is undefeated at WrestleMania. He has a 4-0 record at WrestleMania.
I know he beat William Regal at my WrestleMania 18.
Mm-hmm. There was this one.
This one. Money in the Bank.
Yep. I forget what the fourth one was, but yeah.
Was it the stupid ECW New Blood versus Originals? WrestleMania 22 or 3.
Maybe.
That's the only one I could think of. I did like the RVD versus Booker T tag team now.
Yeah, that was a good tag team together.
And obviously the Dudleys are the Dudleys, and then forever will be the greatest tag team ever, in my opinion.
Nah.
I knew you was going to say that.
We've argued about that. We will argue about it again, but not right now.
Yes. However, we have argued about that, and it's in our archives, top 10 tag teams. Well, we heavily argued on that one. Next match was Christian versus Y2J.
Yes.
I kind of like the build up to the storyline.
This storyline was really good. It had a good build up. The match itself was fantastic.
Mm.
I mean, with these two, you can't go wrong.
The storyline felt more realistic because it could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's always that one girl that you get with, and then she just bitch slaps you in the middle of Madison Square Garden and goes off with your best friend. And then
I mean, I've never had that happen.
And then makes out with him and at the top of the ramp with tongues and everything. And poor Stu, the cameraman, was actually right there filming him.
Here's a little bit of trivia about that match. That was the last match referee Tim White ever refereed.
Oh, yeah, because didn't he get injured at Hell in a Cell, and then he just had that recurring injury and then had to stop?
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, one of my favorite refs, up there with Earl Hebner and Mike Chioda and Jimmy Cordes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? Actually, you mentioned Tim White. I always want to ask you this. Do you ever see the vignettes on WWE.com?
Yep, I've seen them.
And Josh, man, you could do that now. You get fucking cancelled.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the Christian and Y2J match was a really good match. I think that started off the better matches, don't you think?
Yeah, there were a few other stinkers coming after it, but yeah, that's where the good ones started.
I know the stinkers you're going probably on about. Christian obviously defeated Y2J thanks to Trish. Next match. It's one of my favorite matches to watch. I don't like the ending, like the result, but it's one of my favorite matches to watch. Was Evolution, Batista, Ric Flair, and Randy Orton versus The Rock, mustache, goatee, and all, versus Mick Foley, who's got a better goatee. I really loved this match. What about you?
I thought that was a great match. One of the better matches on the card.
What was your? I liked the storyline to it though. It felt like it really intense.
Yeah,
Like Randy Orton and Foley always had that great chemistry.
they really did. I mean, Mick Foley had great chemistry with Randy Orton. He had great chemistry with Edge. Great
Yes.
chemistry with The Rock. Anybody that he stepped in the ring with. I mean, most people that he stepped in the ring with, he had good chemistry with because Foley knew how to make that chemistry.
Yeah, and I think Randy Orton was the legend hero at the time. He was Randy being a dick. Do you remember him kicking Rip? Do you remember Orton kicking Foley down the stairs?
Yep.
And they did the little vignette before they came out, and they were showing different angles of the stairs of Evolution. I'll go ask you this now. Is there anything that stands out in this match to you that I know what stands out to this, but is there anything that stands out to you in this match?
I honestly don't remember much about the match.
Do you remember Batista spine-bustering Rock, and then Ric Flair tags in? He's gonna do the Nature Boy elbow, and every second he's strutting and he's doing his thing, and he's going to the rope, and he jumps over to the Rock, and he's still doing this thing, and then the Rock just kicks up and just lays a smackdown on him, and does his strut, and then whoops his ass.
I do remember that now that you mention it.
Ass for me was brilliant. I love that. Were you surprised the Rock came back in this match, in this paper, around this time?
No, not really.
Because I was, because I thought he was going Hollywood then.
I mean, he had already gone Hollywood. He already had, he was already in the Scorpion King. He had Walking Tall at this point, I believe.
2004. Yeah, Walking Tall. And Crimson Gang, I think, was around that time also.
I don't remember that movie.
Yeah, it's the prison one with the football. With American football. It's a hit and miss film. I think it says Crimson. Is it Crimson? Crimson? Could be wrong. But I know GRIMSON Gang. But it's not as well known ones anyway. I didn't like. I thought Foley and Rock should have won that match, in my opinion. I thought it would make a good feel that. I don't think the loss will hurt Evolution.
No, but at the same time, they really wanted to build Randy Orton at this point.
And Batista at that point. 2004. I mean, the next WrestleMania after this, Batista's winning the world title.
Yeah.
And Randy Orton is facing Undertaker.
Yeah.
So it's just a crazy year they had after this.
So yeah, the seeds were already being sown for them becoming superstars at this point.
Yeah. Talking of seeds, a Playboy evening gown match. Sable and Tori versus Stacy Kleber and Miss Jackie.
I think we've talked in the past about how much I hated this match.
We probably have, but I want to hear it again because we might have new viewers.
You know, I've already said this is WrestleMania.
Yes.
This is where you want to put on your best matches. You want to entertain the crowd. This wasn't fucking entertaining.
It is if you're a 14-year-old boy.
Yes, that I'll agree with. But I hated the way that WWE was treating the woman at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know what's crazy? On here, there's no Trish wrestling. Lita was injured.
Mm-hmm.
There was one decent women's match on. And that was later on. Yeah, you could tell this was a McMahon perf fest.
Yeah. And like you had women at this time that could wrestle. You had Trish, you had Lita, you had Molly Holly, you had Victoria, Miss Jackie. See, who am I missing?
I think that Tough Enough winner, Nadia, she was a good wrestler.
Yeah. I mean, you had Gail Kim, you had
Yeah.
Ivory, you had Jazz, like you said, Nydia, Molly Holly, Trish Stratus, Victoria, Tori Wilson could hold her own.
It was one to sell Tori and Sables together, Playboy, and two Vince Man perf.
Yeah.
If that couldn't go any wrong, let's start the next match. A Cruiserweight Open.
You know, I am going to disagree with you. This match was okay. Was it great? No. But it was better than most of the rest of what we had already had that night.
All right, I will give you that this match was better than the Evening Gown match.
Yes.
But it's kind of bad when I love the Ultimate Dragon, but by God, when he comes out and he's tripping already, you know this match is going to be something.
Yeah.
There is some. I will give you this. There were some decent wrestlers in this match.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio, Ultimate Dragon, Jamie Noble,
Shannon Moore.
I hate to say this name, Billy Kidman.
Funaki.
Yes, number one SmackDown announcer. Tajiri.
Chavo.
Chavo obviously the one winning it. I just realized though, Jamie Noble is so freaking underrated in this, and I can understand that. I can understand now why he's a producer.
Jamie has a great mind for the business.
If we look at this now, Jamie Noble, I think, is the agent and producer, and then Billy Kidman is producer.
Yep.
And then you have Funaki, number one ring announcer. Ultimate Dragon, forever a legend. Rey Mysterio is a 51-year-old Hall of Famer who's still kicking ass at going ladder matches. Shannon Moore is kicking ass on the indies. And you got Tajiri in Japan kicking ass in indies. I mean, and you got Chavo who's back in with WWE.
Yeah.
It's crazy that in what's that in 22 years, all of them are still back, still gearing.
Not to mention, Chavo is also training actors when they do wrestling movies. He trained everybody in the Iron Claw on how to actually wrestle.
Yeah, I remember Zac Efron saying that Chavo helped him.
Yep, and I believe Chavo also had a hand in training the cast of heels. I could be wrong on that.
I know Punk was in that, wasn't he?
Yep, Punk and AJ Lee were both in that one.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Chavo was that. Chavo has that Guerrero genius in it. I think he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, this match was just like keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, and I'm like, oh, I just want this to over with because in my head I just want the big matches to come. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you got to think throughout this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches, this is probably 1.5 hours or 2 hours.
Yeah, pretty close to it.
And we're in a 5-hour show.
Yep.
The next match though, weirdly enough, no one in this match wanted to be in this fucking match.
Except for the referee.
Except the referee, because he wanted a payday and give the fans something. Goldberg versus Brock. Goldberg was leaving WWE. I can't remember why. And Brock, unlike Steve, is leaving WWE to go to join the Vikings for NFL.
Yep, number 69.
No way.
As if that surprises. Yep, 100%. Look it up.
Oh, that's got to be a rip on him.
Nope, he picked number 69.
That's just Brock being brought down, sorry. Yeah, both men didn't want to be there, and I think the fans didn't want to see this match.
Yeah.
Did you want?
Well, I think the fans wanted to see it just so they could boo both guys, and they did, and they had a great time doing it.
Well, would you do it?
Would I boo them or would I have the match?
Both.
I would boo them. I would not have put this match on. If I knew that both guys were leaving, why give them a WrestleMania moment?
Yeah. There was a build up to this, though, because I think Brock stole Stone Cold's ATV.
Yep.
And it was built up, and then which is crazy because he's the special ref. And the build up to it is Brock got this on SmackDown. The whole SmackDown roster is there, and they're saying beat up Stone Cold. They're not going to beat up Stone Cold. And Austin and Brock have a fist fight, and he busts Brock open. That's a very good special referee, don't you think?
Yeah.
It was an awkward match. Would you say it that way?
Oh yeah, especially with the heat coming from the crowd, it made it awkward. And I think both guys kind of fed off of that and said, "Yeah, if they're gonna be booing us, singing na 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 na, hey hey goodbye, why are we gonna put on a good show for them?" This was Vince McMahon's fault.
Yeah.
He pushed this match. He knew that both guys were leaving. And he said, well, God damn it, we're going to put them out there anyway. Fucking Vince.
I think this is a fucking Vince on a lot of these matches.
This was not good shit.
What's crazy is you saying about the Nana hey, which I love. I mean, JR sings it better. It is rumored and told that many of the boys at the back were laughing their asses off because of the fans seeing that.
Oh, I would have too.
The ending made everything well though, because obviously you got Goldberg going over, Brock's there in the middle of the ring, double saluting us fans, and then double saluting Austin. He gets a Stone Cold Stunner. Beers with Goldberg, and he gets the Stone Cold Stunner, and the one that everyone wants to see is standing in the ring having some beers and middle fingering everyone.
Yep.
I think that's what we needed, just Stone Cold just to come out. They should have just done a segment.
Yeah, I agree. This shouldn't have been a match. It should have been a segment. It should have been, let's see, putting my fantasy booker hat on. Lesnar comes out. He starts tearing down the crowd.
Yeah.
Goldberg comes out. He starts tearing down Lesnar. Austin comes out. He starts tearing them both down. But then he says, "You know what? Let's have a drink together. Wish you guys well." Everybody gets beers. Everybody starts drinking. Stunner.
Yeah.
Done.
I think that would have been better than a 10-minute match.
Yeah. Which, I mean, 10 minutes is almost unheard of for Brock and Bill Goldberg.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that in 12 years after this, they will face each other as Survivor Series, and Goldberg will win under 2 minutes.
Yeah.
The next match is the WWE Tag Team match. Tag Team title matches. Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty will put their titles on the line, and they did, and then won against the world's greatest tag team, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, APA, JBL, and Farouk, and the Basham brothers of Doug and Danny. Now, you would take Doug and Danny out of this and put them in the Raw one and replace them with Lover Resistance. I found this one better than the Raw one.
I thought it was comparable. I wouldn't say it was better.
I would just say it's just slightly better than the Raw one. But I don't understand why they put 2 fatal 4-way tag team matches.
Just because they have the 2 tag team titles.
I just think they just put everyone on the card so everyone gets a payday.
Yeah. That sounds like a very 2004 WWE thing to do.
Yeah, and you looked at the roster before we went on, and you said, so you were not happy with that roster that they had in that time.
That 2004 roster was, for lack of a better term, trash. I mean, there are a lot of guys that put them in WWE now, and they're jobbing every week.
Ooh, that's a prediction. I'm scared to ask for a sample.
All right, let's go.
Oh no!
Let's go with the man.
This is coming from someone that's got heat when a Alundra plays now.
A-Train.
You're going to... Okay, well, Matt Bloom's going to kill you.
As much as I respect Matt Bloom.
Okay.
A-Train was a mid-card to lower mid-card jobber.
Mm-hmm.
Bill DeMott.
Oh, yeah.
First off, fuck Bill DeMott.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you the jobber there.
I mean, Charlie Haas not being in the world's greatest tag team, lower mid card to job,
which was true because he unfortunately he did get that way.
Yeah,
it pissed me off so much when he was doing other people's wrestling like gimmicks. I thought Austin was here, and then all of a sudden here comes him with a bull cap.
Danny Basham.
Yeah, I mean, I think Doug Basham now is where is he? Yeah, he's a producer and a big name in OVW at the moment.
Yeah. Garrison Cade, rest in peace.
Yes.
Hardcore Holly.
Yeah.
That might be controversial, but I think Hardcore Holly jobs.
You say that, but if you ask Hardcore Holly, he will say he should have been in that triple threat world title match and he should have won it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a basically it was a jobber roster for the majority of the 2004.
Like you've got guys like Johnny Stamboli, you got Heidenreich, Mark Jindrak, Matt Morgan. Let's see, Nunzio, Orlando Jordan, Rene Dupree, Paul London.
Yeah,
like all these guys, you throw them in there today, they're jobbing.
Yeah, I was a big Matt Morgan fan in TNA.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think he can last. I think Matt Morgan could last.
Not the way WWE books guys that don't have charisma.
True. I'll give you that one. But yeah, the rest I agree with you.
I mean, I love Powerhouse Hobbs, Royce Keys. He doesn't have charisma though.
Yeah. If you
And
forget, it's Frankie.
I don't think Royce Keys is going to end up doing well in WWE without having that charisma. He has the classic Vince body. He is exactly what Vince looked for. But that's not what WWE now is.
Is that why they're doing all the vignettes of his past then, to give him that charisma?
I think they're trying to make people more invested in him with that.
Yeah, I give you that one. And obviously, Jeff said, can't forget the Brian Kendrick. Absolutely. If you say Paul London, then you cannot forget the Brian Kendrick. Now, let's talk about some good wrestling. Victoria put her women's title on the line against Molly Holly, and the loser loses their hair.
Now, you say good wrestling.
I've been in hair matches.
Yes. You were lucky to keep your hair this time.
Yeah, thank you.
There were two ways that I wrote that one.
I know, and I'm thankful you went that way.
However, in both ways that I wrote that one, you ended up keeping your hair.
Oh, okay.
But in one of them, you did lose. I'll tell you the full story after this.
Yeah, okay.
That hair versus title match, it was... They could have done so much better. Those two women know how to wrestle. They could wrestle absolute circles around just about any woman wrestler at that point.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't their best showing.
Molly Holly pitched the idea of the losing hair.
Yeah.
Which tells you a lot about Molly Holly and how smart she is, though.
Mm-hmm.
And the length she's willing to go for the company. Victoria was the first woman to defend her title successfully in two separate WrestleManias, from WrestleMania 19 and WrestleMania 20. So they can't take that off her. I like the match. I like the ending and the goofy shit that happened after that with Molly Holly wearing wigs. But these are two underrated women, absolutely.
Yeah. Underrated, and in this era, they didn't get the spotlight that they should have.
And I think if you put them in today's era, I think they'll still be badass.
Oh yeah, they'd be hanging up at the top of the card.
Oh yeah, I mean, give me Victoria versus Rhea Ripley any day.
Oh, absolutely.
Now I say let's get into the good wrestling. Eddie Guerrero defends his WWE championship against Kurt Angle. Now I can say this was a banger.
Yes, this one was an absolute freaking banger.
I loved the finish. To know that Kurt was hurt and still did this match, I found it remarkable, because some of the moves in this and the German suplexes and the storytelling of going for Eddie's foot, and it's just really good. And I loved the ending where he just takes his boot off.
I mean, that's what these two guys did, is they told stories.
Yeah. Do you remember Dominic doing it to AJ recently?
Yes.
So I was like, all right, this brings back memories.
Yeah. When he did that, I was that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio going,
well, with a cigarette and everything like that. Just to put this out there, the title under Steve's name That's only because I pay him more. Eddie was the first babyface to retain his title in 9 years during this at WrestleMania.
See, so the last one would have been WrestleMania 11. Yeah. Okay.
That's crazy, isn't it? That since then.
Yep.
This match is for me it's underrated, and I love watching this match and how clever the ending. And do you feel they should have done more of this series?
I would have loved to have seen more.
Because I think after this was JBL, wasn't it?
Yeah. Which I mean that series between JBL and Eddie was iconic. Absolutely iconic.
JBL, Eddie, Judgment Day, where he fucking smacked his head right into that steel chair, and then the bull rope match at Great American Bash. So yeah, if this was the last successful defense against someone like Kurt Angle, that is a hell of an achievement.
Yeah.
Taker versus Kane. Now, we said this on our bonus episode. This is our one of our favorite Undertaker entrances.
Yes.
Hearing Paul Bearer, who WB paid for his surgery to be there, hearing that high pitch, oh yes, and then
oh yes,
there we go. Him coming out and just he like hear Jerry the King Lawler say, "Oh my God, he's back." It was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
The Drew is a hybrid Undertaker, where it's a mixture of the American Badass and the Dead Man. My favorite Undertaker, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll completely agree.
Do you remember the build up to this though?
Not completely.
Do you remember the Royal Rumble where the Dong came on and Kane got eliminated because he decided? Obviously, he buried the American Badass at Survivor Series against Vince, which was bullshit. But yeah, the Royal Rumble, Kane got eliminated, took out what Spike Dudley, he was coming out to the ring. He got choke slam on the ramp, and then just my games and the ring moving, and it was so good to see those mind games back, wasn't
it?
Yeah. Do you know the streak that he went up to when he beat Kane?
12-0.
Bastard. I was hoping I win Summit then. All right.
No.
It was a really good match. It didn't last long, but it told a great story.
Yeah.
Now let's get on to the main event. Actually, before we do you remember the Hall of Fame on that time? Do you remember any of them that were inducted? It was the first time they did the big induction. Don't Google it.
I have it right here because I'm following along on Wikipedia for everything that doesn't come right to my mind.
I know Bobby the Brain Heenan.
No, this doesn't even tell me. Okay.
Bobby the Brain.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse the Body Ventura.
I remember being surprised that Jesse was back in good graces with WWE at that point.
Yeah, it didn't last long. That's two. I want to say Don Morocco. I want to say Don Morocco was there. Greg the Hammer Valentine, I think. Tito Santana.
Do you want me to look it up, Maddie?
Yeah. Harley Race. Harley Race. Sarge.
Let's see, class of 2004.
I just remember Bobby Heenan's speech was one of the greatest speeches ever.
Right, 2004 was Big John Studd,
Yes.
Bobby the Brain Heenan,
Got that one.
Don the Rock Morocco,
Yes. Got that one.
Greg Valentine,
Yes.
Harley Race,
Yeah. Oh, bloody hell, I did well.
yeah, Jesse the Body,
Yes.
Junkyard Dog,
Yeah.
Sarge,
Yes.
Superstar Billy Graham,
Yes.
Tito Santana,
Oh.
and celebrity inductee Pete Rose.
Heroes. Oh, so I ain't bad. I had like 8 out of 11.
Yeah.
And 2 of them, yeah, that ain't bad. I'm happy with that. But I highly recommend watching Bobby Heenan speech. That was freaking awesome. Yeah, let's get into it. The main event. Benoit will defeat Triple H and HBK to win the World Heavyweight title. Here's something for you for your creative, the way you like your book. This match was supposed to be a ladder match.
It was. I do remember that.
Can you imagine how fucked up that would have been and ruined what is one hell of a triple threat match?
I am so glad they decided not to do a ladder match with it.
If it was a ladder match, right, and obviously everything that Benoit did, and they had to edit all that shit out.
Oh
God. It's nuts. I watched this match and I was thinking there's so much fucking blood.
Yeah.
Do you think Triple H and HBK did the job for Benoit so freaking well to put him over like that?
Oh yeah. They knew that Benoit was the guy at that point.
Yeah.
And even with egos like Triple H and Shawn Michaels have, or at least had at that point. I can't speak to if they still do. I'm sure they do to a certain extent.
All wrestlers do.
Yeah. But I think they knew at that point, hey, Benoit is red hot. He needs to go over.
Yeah. He was hot from mid 2003, I think, in SmackDown, having feud with Paul Heyman, who was the GM at the time, I think. And it's just like kind of like underdog a little bit, and then he wins the Rumble at number 1.
Yeah.
And then tries almost get screwed over by Shawn for the singles match, and then it's a triple threat. To me, I still remember that Sweet Chin music when he's put Benoit's got Triple H in the sharpshooter, and all of a sudden you see Sweet Chin music out of nowhere just kick his fucking head off.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And the finish, and it doesn't surprise me that Triple H was the one that tapped out.
No, it doesn't surprise me at all.
And it was the first main event submission win.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, after that, Eddie comes down, they're hugging, and confetti coming down. It's one of the nicest things ever. We're not going to talk about Benoit the man, but the wrestler was just unbelievable.
As a wrestler, Chris Benoit was second to none. If his personal life notwithstanding, he is my favorite wrestler, even above Brett. I would watch a Benoit match before I watched a Brett match.
It was a special talent. It's just a shame that you fucked it.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people to blame for what happened, and not just him.
Yeah.
Maddie, we are getting too controversial. We've got to settle down. We've got to go home.
Okay. So would you put this match, all right? Take away obviously what he done and all that stuff and the barness. Would you say this triple threat main event is one of the best main events of WrestleMania?
Bar none. Absolutely. And Meltzer agreed with me, 4.75 stars.
This is why he's a prick. All right.
Yeah.
Everything honestly, I don't know if anyone's seen online at the moment, but him and Conrad Thompson are having one hell of a heat battle. Man. Go Conrad. All right. Let's put a blanket on this one. What's your final take then on WrestleMania 20?
WrestleMania 20 could have been a lot better. There are a lot of misses, but there were also some really, really big hits. Fix the Undertaker versus Kane match. That's one of the big things. It wasn't their best match.
No.
Get rid of the Playboy evening gown match completely. Let the fucking women wrestle.
I agree. But if it's a wrestling match, then take out the other three and just put Tori against Nydia or something.
Yeah, because Nydia could go.
Yeah. Or Miss Jacqueline, anyone like that.
Yeah.
Miss Jacqueline, sorry. Yeah, apart from that, I just think it was a really good pay-per-view. It has, like every other pay-per-view, WrestleMania has some hits, has some misses, but it was very entertaining for a 2004 week roster, in my opinion.
Yeah. With the roster that they had, I think they did the best that they could.
This one kind of reminds me of WrestleMania 16, that they had that kind of matches, and then the following year have a real good banger, which WrestleMania 16 obviously did with 17. This one had with 21, because WrestleMania 21, for me, each match was unbelievable.
Yeah, I will agree.
So sometimes you gotta have a mixed bag WrestleMania to have a next year beat up awesome WrestleMania, and hopefully patterns keep going, and next year we might have WrestleMania 43, hopefully back in the US or UK, and have a proper banger 2 nights. So on that delightful note, Steve, where people cannot find you.
Oh, you can find me on Facebook under my government name, Steve Akins. You can find me on Instagram under So Many Tragedies. Find me on X under pedigree_Steve. Find me on TikTok under Malchus.Daroga. That's DORROGA. And if you can't find me, then it wasn't meant to be.
Exactly. And I have something on here. Ah, yes. So Steve is the general manager of MWF. He's the last real general manager of NWF. And season 8 is upcoming soon in a couple of months' time. But people can just join if they just want to predict have fun before then. So on here in the top left-hand corner, you will see a QR code. If you scan that code, it'll go straight to either way, dude.
No, it's going the right way for me.
Oh, it's all right for you. All right, it's going opposite from me. Typical Atlantic, innit? Metric system. Yeah, in that QR code, if you scan that, it'll take you to the group, and you just have to fill in the form, and by God, you're part of season 8. You create your own character, predict on like a Google Forms, and just have fun. And Steve and Justin and Sean will do you guys matches right out for you, and just have a lot of fun.
And guys, my favorite thing to do is to make stories. Whether it's storylines, whether it's coming up with a backstory for your character, reach out to me. I love doing this stuff. I love being able to create things out of very, very little. So reach out to me, get going with MWL, get your ass in gear, make a character, just have a hell of a good time.
Yes, and with the prediction forums is WWE, TNA, AEW, with a hint of TCW. It depends on our commissioner.
And
So and AAA, obviously. So there's a lot to predict sometimes, and it's just fun, and it passes the time, and we're building community. We all love wrestling. We don't like be hating on each other. Such a great bunch of people from all sides on the Atlantic. So it's highly recommended.
And we even got some Aussies too.
Yes, which is crazy. Here's the thing: what makes MW really great? I'm a part timer on there. I just had a one-on-one match for their big kind of WrestleMania match, and it was basically 5 stages of hell I created. The unhinged funhouse, and Steve wrote an amazing story to this. The action was crazy, and unfortunately, for the other person who was retiring, he now has to make 2 videos. One of them, he has to say, "I love Mercedes Moné," and the other one is he has to put some merchandise of Boston in the bin. So, gotta love it. But with that, you can find Wrestling Pedigree on Facebook, TikTok, WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram, and basically wherever there is social media, there was probably a Wrestling Pedigree. You can find me on Twitter on Matty W frickin' A. And with that, we'll be back next week. And we have our bonus episode, which will be live tomorrow on Spotify and YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. So, from myself and Steve for not leaving Wrestling Pedigree for the Vikings again, enjoy professional wrestling.
And don't be a dick.